like to talk about the recording lamp today. Now, the recording lamp isn't a term that I made up. It's actually in the Panasonic DR60 manual. I think it's part number 2. And it points to this little hole that you see right underneath my fingertip there. It's right behind the black volume dial and just to the side of that mic with all those little dots on it. Now, the recording lamp is simply a red light that tells us when the unit is recording or when it's not recording. And we'll go ahead and just turn this on. Now, when I'm talking, you're going to see that it's lit up red, solid. It's not flashing, and that's because it's a voice-activated unit. And when this unit hears something, it records it, and that red light stays solid. However, I'm going to stop talking for a second, show you. See how it's flashing? So when it doesn't hear anything, it doesn't record anything, and it starts flashing. And where it gets quite fun for paranormal investigators is when we ask a question, we're in a room or we're in an environment, and we ask a question and there's complete silence, and yet we see that red light stay solid or start flashing erratically because it's got like a constant pulse. But when that pulse kind of changes and does something like that, you know that you're capturing something. You can also tell by watching the display as well, watching the numbers move up, but that red light will also give you a clue. So what exactly is that red light? You know, I always imagined it was a red light bulb with wires on it, but I looked the other day and I was quite shocked at what I found. And let me show you. I'm just going to turn this off. So I took apart a DR60 and I stripped it of everything. And when I looked in the top left corner, see there's the little hole. There was a little plastic piece. Now I pulled it out because it took a little while to pull out, but there's just a little plastic piece, and there's all these, you see all the little, on the case, there's built-in kind of gray prongs and things like that. And you can see the hole behind. This little plastic piece fits right it snaps right onto those gray pieces. And there's a little prong, you can kind of see it to the right there. That little prong gets fed up through that hole, and that's the red light that we see. But you'll notice there are no wires attached, and there's no filament, there's nothing, it's just plastic. So how the heck can that glow red? Well, I found the answer by looking on the circuit board. Right behind this plastic piece, there's a little white box, and I thought that's got to be it. So when I looked it up in the service manual, I got the part number. I looked it up, and it turns out that little, and when I say little, it is really little. It is just a mini, small little LED. Now, an LED stands for light emitting diode. And that's just a little microchip that emits light when current passes through it, and it's set up to give off red light. And what that's doing is it's projecting red light onto that clear plastic, through the clear plastic, and through that little prong that goes up through that hole, and that's how we get the red light. I thought that was quite fascinating. It's just amazing that something that small can produce light like that. So I was thinking to myself, okay, this little plastic piece is removable. Is that useful? And I thought, yeah, it is, because if that hole ever gets plugged with dirt, you can actually remove that little plastic piece and clean that hole and snap it back into place. And there's actually another reason as well, which I'll get into a little bit. But I wanted to talk about this little hole to the right. Now, the one on the left is the light. This little hole on the right, and again, I'm kind of veering off topic here, but since we're here, I want to talk about this. I thought it was kind of interesting. You'll notice that the black hole here was the hole on the left that I just showed you, and the hole on the right is the mic. But what's interesting is you'll see 6 little dots, which I always thought went right through the case, and yet it's just that central hole that goes through. So those little dots are just for decoration. They don't do anything at all. Anyway, one thing I wanted to point out is, let's say you have a Panasonic DR60 and the back cover is destroyed. Let's say it got melted or it got smashed or who knows. Well, what are you going to do? You can buy a Panasonic DR60 parts unit for probably, I've seen them go anywhere from $400 to $700 US on eBay. But just to get a back cover for that kind of money seems kind of crazy, even though you get a bunch of other parts as well. There is another way to go if you don't care about color. The DR60 is silver, front and back. The radio version, which I turned into a panel box, has a silver front, but the back is black. So if you don't care about color, these are virtually identical. So you could use one of these. You could probably get them for $50, $60 on eBay and save yourself a fortune. And the only thing that this doesn't have, which you're gonna have to drill, is the holes. They're missing. However, the little, you can see, it's kind of hard to zoom in there, but those little pieces that this silver thing fits on are in place. So you're set. You can attach that on. You're just gonna have to drill the little hole for the light, and you're gonna have to drill the little hole for the microphone, but you're in business. So a fun little fix. Anyway, I hope that helps someone out there. I hope you're never in the situation where you're gonna have to replace your back cover, but if you do, here's a cheap little way to do it.